Well, welcome into another edition of Transylvania Basketball with Brian Lane. I want to thank Dave Baker for sitting in last week, although he's clearly wrecked the program. He go 0-2 after he comes on and hosts the show.
He did a heck of a job, and we're not going to let him do it anymore.
Yeah, that's it. That's all he gets. This week, not the best of weeks yet. You do go 0-2, although I don't know if there's ever a good week to go 0-2 in a conference. You're still right in the thick of things.
We are, and it was disappointing because we had a nice game against Franklin last week, and then came into a Defiance game where two teams were unbeaten, and really had some bad luck at the beginning of that game with Tierney going out hurt and Verax picking up 2 fouls that kind of just changed the whole makeup of the game. So we're still one game behind them in the lead for first place. The Hanover game was a very, very good game, and possession here, possession there, it changes course as well. But it's something, a young team, we're playing a lot of young guys. You hate to have to learn those lessons with losses, especially at home. But this, if you looked at our schedule, this was the toughest stretch. 3 home games. Okay, you would think the home games would be the easier, but 3 of the toughest teams right back to back to back.
It's an amazing thing. You look at the schedule right now, and there's only, about 5 weeks left as we talk today in the entire regular season.
There is, and there's 10 conference games left, and obviously yesterday's non-conference game against Thomas More up in Northern Kentucky. But we put ourselves in a little bit of hole because we didn't take care of the home games. But last year, for example, we lost the Hanover game at our place, and then went up there, and we got better towards the end of the season, and that same needs to happen this year.
All right, we got plenty more still to come. We're going to show you highlights of both games. We've got a player profile we're going to introduce you to, and also tell you how you can come for an open house at Transylvania. That is all still to come here on this week's show. It's Transylvania Basketball with Brian Lane. As we send you to break, we let you look at our trivia question for today, and that question being, how many teams qualify for the NCAA Division III postseason tournament? We'll have that answer a little bit later in the show. So very near the 20-year anniversary of that game that you were a part of, right?
Wow, 20 years ago. That was a good game. We always had sensational games with Center, even way back when. But we're shooting a lot more threes now.
Yeah, percentage-wise, teams shot better then. Yeah. Almost doesn't matter what team you look at in what division.
And as you looked at it, that was 2 years from the inception of the three-point line, and only getting off 12. Good defense, probably.
Yeah, maybe you're taking some more.
Right.
All right, the game we're going to show you here from a week ago, maybe not one you want to remember too fondly on, but a lot of things went wrong early for you in this game.
It did. Tim had not, Tierney there with the dish, he had not practiced for the 2 days before, had an issue with his shoulder, and did not take a right-handed shot for the 2 days before. And that really affected. He would normally be on C.J. Johnson, their best player, that got 33 points in 22 minutes, and we could not put him on him. It was interesting because that kid's left-handed, and see Matthew Martin hitting a deep 3 off of Aaron Cash penetration pitch, but Tim's right side was hurt, so you had a lefty going against Tim's right side, which was bad. So it was a bad combination, and then Joey got in foul trouble. It was actually, looking at this at the 10-minute mark, we were up 1. Penetration again from Verax. Parton, who's probably, for every 10 attempts, 8 of them have been 3-pointers, and hadn't got to the foul line a lot, but we talk about a lot of times the inside game. People try to take that away, and then we'll get the outside game going a little bit. second shots hurt us a little bit. And you saw we had won 11 straight games against Defiance. And it was one of those games where it was kind of just a perfect storm there. We get Blake fronting the post up at the elbow, which is too far. Anthony Petaway, we did a decent job. That was about the only possession where we didn't do a nice job. Help defense there. Brock closes out a little high, and the guy gets a reverse layup, which should never happen.
And again, penetration here and kicking out. But what you don't see in these highlights right now are Varac's, because he got in some foul trouble here for you.
Yeah, he did. And once he got in foul trouble, it changes the whole makeup of the game. Blake McCowan put two games together where he's had a little more energy and was more aggressive. Scotty Ballman, who started the year there on the JV team from here in Lexington, he came in and was able to give us some minutes at the point. So it was a game that 10-minute mark we're up 1, and at the end of the half we're down 24. And it just snowballed. We had a couple timeouts during that segment, and really looking back, we should have put Joey back in, even if he got his 3rd foul.
Just to keep it from getting out of hand.
Just to keep it out. And you know, as coaches, you always learn new things, and that was obviously a mistake on our part.
Yeah. So clearly, you don't think your team is 30 points worse than they were a week ago.
The way that game went out. I mean, if we're healthy and it's the same thing. And I think it was a good example. We had beaten Franklin earlier in the week, and Defiance lost to Franklin on Wednesday night. So I think we probably softened them up a little bit.
Got the jar loose a little bit there, you think?
They probably thought they were pretty solid coming out of here, out of the 30-point victory. But we, in no way did we think that was indicative of the way we've been playing.
All right, another game to look at here. When we come back, a great crowd was on hand earlier this week for the game against Hanover. We'll show you highlights of that game. We got a player profile with Matthew Martin coming up as well, and plenty more still to come here on this edition of Transylvania Basketball with Brian Lane. You learn something every week when you put these things together. Lee came in with me my freshman year, so that was 91-92. I didn't know he broke your record.
Absolutely, and we haven't spoken since.
Well, he's in the FBI. He's deep undercover. You can't find him.
He is actually.
Literally.
Yeah, actually, when the Final Four was in St. Louis,
I ran into him there.
Spent a little time. Yeah. He was heading up that division, the FBI, the coverage of the Final Four. Yeah. And the long lines probably. For that one were unbelievable, as there was much concern.
All right, the Pioneers this week, a great crowd on hand as we get a look at the highlights from Wednesday night against Hanover. Another conference game coming off that loss this past Saturday, and you know, it's a great atmosphere, but we'll get a look at some of the highlights here.
Yeah, we always have really good games against Hanover. I mean, when we started and got into Division III, you know, after back in the 70s being in the NCAA, Hanover was the king of the hill in our conference, and we really were pushing there for a number of years, trying to get up to that level, and we're able to do that the last couple of years. Robbie Brown there came in and wore us out at the beginning of the game, 10 points right off the bat.
That's a deep three there.
It's a deep three, and that kid right there, 15, had come into the game. He had made 2 threes the whole year and made 3 against us. There's Tim getting a three-pointer to help us. It was a 2-possession game. We lost the first half by 4 points, lost the second half by 4 points, but it was a very, very good game. 14 lead changes. The bench scoring was considerable. They had 32 points off their bench.
That looks like pretty good defense there. I mean, you're right on him, and he's really deep. But I guess you got to know when guys can shoot that deep.
It is, and you know, we had gone over that particular play a number of times. 2 guys come together, and the guy goes back door, and the other one pops out. You can see the one thing that they're ready to shoot it, and you don't see much wasted